So my name is Mike Malcara. Again, this is Alicia. She'll be the participant. And this week we're going to assess blood pressure, body composition, and flexibility. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the blood pressure. You want to get your stethoscope and BP cuff. You want to make sure the patient is sitting with her feet flat against the floor, nice and tall, and you want to make sure the arm that you're using is about, or her mid arm is about the level of her heart, and her arm is nice and relaxed. One thing you want to make sure is you use a cuff that is the right size. If you use a cuff that's too big, it could have an impact by giving you a low blood pressure, and vice versa, where if you use a BP cuff that's too small, you could get a blood pressure that's too high. Before we do that, we're going to palpate for the brachial artery. Hers is right around there. Up on. Make sure it's nice and snug. And then we're going to put the bell right over where we found that artery. When we pump it up, we want to pump it up to about 200. For a bigger athlete, you may want to pump it up to like 220. So we got about 102/58. So the first sound, you're looking for the first sound, which is going to be the systolic value, and the second, and the last sound that you hear is going to be the diastolic value. Alright, so next we're going to do the skin fold test. So for females, the three sites are going to be the triceps, the suprailiac, and the thigh, whereas the males, you're going to do the chest, I believe it's the chest, the abdomen, and then the thigh. So what we're going to do for here is we're going to start here at the Aprumon process, come down to the elbow. So it's about 13. So then we're going to find the halfway point between the two. It's going to be about 6.5. So we're going to mark that point. Alright. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of grab around 1.5-ish on each side. Put the caliper on, and you want to let go nice and gently so that it kind of stays. So for here we get 21 millimeters. So next we're going to find the iliac crest. So can you just bring your shirt up a little bit? It's right in here, and then we're gonna go 1 millimeter up, 1 centimeter, sorry, mark that spot. So and then for this one we're gonna do a diagonal pinch. So for here we have about 12 millimeters. Okay, and for the last one, we're gonna find the inguinal fold. So we're gonna start there, and we're gonna come down to like the anterior portion of the middle of the patella. It's about 16. We're gonna find the halfway mark, which is gonna be about 8. We're gonna mark that here. the same thing. Grab on each side. Let it sit for a couple seconds, and then we're going to get a value of 28. So you want to do this one or two more times, and you want the values to be within 1 or 2 millimeters. And after that, you're just going to find the average. And every time you redo it, you're going to go from one side to another. So you're not going to do 3 at each site. You're going to go 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and you're going to repeat that process. One thing to be careful of is you want to make sure they didn't put any like lotion or anything that makes the skin slippery. Otherwise, you will have a hard time pinching the skin. The next thing we'll do is the girth measurement. So we're going to take it at the waist and then the hips. So the first thing we're going to do is, if you can lift up your shirt a little bit, and you're going to bend to the side. And so we're going to find the natural waistline, which is kind of where it curves. And go ahead and stand up straight and relaxed. And so one thing you want to be careful is you want to make sure the tape measure is kind of nice and even going across. And you also want to make sure you're not pulling it too tight or having it too loose. So here we have about 28. And then so for the hips, what we're going to do is we're going to go around the widest part. So being careful of the same things here. So we have about 38 and a half. Ready? Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the flexibility test, and we're going to do the shin reach. Prior to the test, the participant should do like a warm-up. Make sure to stretch out the posterior chain, the hamstrings, the glutes, things like that. And so the way we're going to kind of set up this test is we're going to put down a tape measure on the floor, and we're going to mark it down. We're going to tape it across the 15-inch line. And so what we'll do is we'll have the participant place her heels right at the line. So go ahead and bring this up a little more. Perfect. And so her feet should be about shoulder width apart. Hands are going to be together just as this. And so in one smooth motion, what you're going to do is you're going to breathe in as deep as you can. And when you exhale, you're going to reach out nice and smoothly, going against the line, going to touch the line. You're going to hold it for a couple seconds. So here she has about just short of 16 and a half. Let's go ahead and come back, and then we'll try it one more time. And reach out nice and slow. So here we have 17. Some things to look out for is you want to make sure the participant knees stay straight during the test. Her fingers stay nice and aligned and don't overlap, and that they're doing the motion in one smooth motion and not jerking along the way. So next we're going to do some goniometry measurements. The first one we'll start with is the elbow. So we'll place the axis along the lateral epicondyle with the stationary arm going along the humerus. And we'll put the moving arm along the radius. So go ahead and flex your arm. So we're going to have about 142 degrees of motion right in there. So we'll go ahead and do the other side. Go ahead and go. So then this side is about 150. Alright, so the next one we'll take a look at is her shoulder flexion. ideally it should be on like a treatment table or something where it's a little higher, but we don't have that here. And so what we'll do is we'll place the axis kind of along that greater tubercle. And so with the stationary arm, we'll kind of keep that with the mid-thoracic, and the moving arm will follow the humerus. So go ahead and reach up. So for this, she has about 160 degrees on her left. Go ahead and go. Bring this down. And then she has about 165 on her right. Right, this side is easier to see.
Okay.
Alright, so next we'll go ahead and we'll do hip flexion. So we're going to lay down. The access point will go along the greater tubercle. So the stationary arm again will go mid-thoracic, and the moving arm will follow the femur. So go ahead and bring your knees to your hip. And it's going to kind of be pointed down to the lateral epicondyle here. And so is that as far as you can go?
Mm-hmm.
So she has about 106 degrees in the left hip. Go ahead and bring your knees here. And this side, she has about 118 degrees right. Alright, so the last measurement we'll take is knee flexion. So where we'll start is we'll place the axis along the lateral epicondyle here in the knee. The stationary arm will be positioned along the femoral shaft and kind of pointing towards that greater tubercle that we found earlier. And the moving arm will follow the fibula, and it'll kind of be pointed towards the lateral malleolus. So go ahead and bring your heel to your butt. So for her, we got about 126 degrees on her right knee. Go over here to the left. Oops. Go ahead, so same thing. Let's go ahead and go. Bring your heel. So on this side, she has about 124 degrees of motion. Just be careful when you're doing your measurements that you're using the right side. You're using the correct side, and just kind of takes common sense where you know she's going to be moving past that 90, and anything additional will be added to that.